Hello and welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show where we bring you insight and opinion into the lives of two rather famous royal couples on either side of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield and I'll be bringing you updates on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex right here in California.
And I'm Nicholl and I'll have all the latest news from the Prince and Princess of Wales here in the UK. Kick off, Kinsey, with Prince William at the football. Of course, the amazing, nail-biting and tense match that we witnessed between England and Switzerland. And I have to say, I've not seen William look so animated. I mean, he was literally on the edge of his seat. At one point, he had his face in his hands as he was watching the match. I mean, we know he's a massive football fan, but it was so lovely seeing him congratulating Bukayo Saka and giving the 22-year-old this big hug, telling him well done. Of course, it was Saka who scored in that amazing equaliser, and it was just such a nail-biting moment. And I thought just great to see the Prince of Wales there. Obviously, he's president of the FA. He's a big football fan. I mean, we've not seen him much, have we, at the Euros? But I thought it was great to see him at that match, and I would be very surprised if we don't see him at the semi-finals on Thursday.
There was a really fun article in the Daily Mail, and the title was "How Prince William's Animated Enthusiasm Has Won the Nation Over for Jumping for Joy at the England Game, Shaking It Off at the Taylor Swift Concert, and Scooting Around Windsor Castle." I think we are heightened. I think we are elated and kind of seeing Prince William so, like you said, animated, seeing him so full of joy as royal watchers has given us hope after a pretty tough 6 months. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I think, to see that joy, to see that lightness about him. It's not like he's not coming out, he's not able to work because he's worrying so much about his wife. We know she's turned this corner. We understand she's doing well through her treatment. And I think, as you say, the fact that we're seeing him at the Taylor Swift concert, we're seeing him take George to football matches, coming out and doing and being at that match and being as lively and as animated as he was are all really good signs. And, I think he's become very synonymous with football in this country. I mean, I loved the fact that he was sporting a football tie. I thought that was a really sweet nod to the importance of this match. And I also think for England, for the team, him turning up gives such a boost for their morale. He gets on very well with Gareth Southgate, of course, the England manager. He knows the team, and I think his support there would have been hugely appreciated, not just by the fans and the FA and everything he has to represent as president of the FA, but really for England. And I particularly loved it when he gave that. He went onto X and gave a really, really sweet personal message, which he signed, W, saying it was sort of nail biting to the end. Well done, England. Semi-finals. Here we come. I believe. He believes in this team. He believes in England. I mean, I hope we're not crushingly disappointed when they take on the Netherlands. We probably will be, because that seems to be what we do. But I think having him behind as such a champion of the sport, which I'm sure even in LA, you spent enough time in England, Kinsey. You know how important football is to all of us and to us as a nation. We really do get behind our squad.
Absolutely. I want to ask you about Prince William's upcoming documentary, because I received so many messages from people kind of panicked over the idea of Prince William doing a documentary. Is this Harry and Meghan 2.0? And I said, no, don't worry. This is nothing salacious. This is actually really positive and kind of following in the footsteps of Princess Diana a little bit.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think the Princess Diana link's really important, because one of the first patronages that William took on was Centrepoint, which was the charity that his mother was hugely involved with, entirely dedicated to trying to eradicate homelessness in the UK. Now, that was 25 years ago. Today, homelessness is still a major problem, and the cause of William's latest 5-year project, it's called Homewoods. It's a project that basically brings together a range of individuals and organizations to try and create a project to erase homelessness in this country, where it is still far too much of a problem for the sort of modern developed city country that we are. So William's made a documentary which will give a glimpse into the work that's gone on behind the scenes across these 2-hour-long episodes. He's described Homewoods on his website as a big task, this idea that we can erase homelessness in this country, but he doesn't think it's an impossible task. And he talks about wanting to make this ambition a reality. He's done a lot of work, a lot of research in countries like Finland, where they've had really successful outcomes with eradicating homelessness. And this is the first documentary that we'll have seen William appear in for quite a few years. This is important. I think this marks a sort of centre point for this 5-year project. Let's not forget that this year has been so disrupted, hasn't it, by the illnesses within the royal family, and by the fact that the king has had to step out the limelight, that Catherine's not been able to sort of continue the work that she's wanted to do. William's had to step up in a way that he wasn't expected to do, which perhaps might have sort of taken the spotlight of some of the projects that he's wanted to do. So I think it's wonderful to know that this documentary has been able to happen, that it's going to be coming out. And as we know with anything like this, it's really going to put the spotlight onto something that he cares about, that's very important to him. I think this whole project that he's behind is aiming to find solutions for homelessness in 6 different locations around the UK, but it's a very, very practical thing. You know, within this time frame, they want to see the numbers of homelessness reduced, and eventually for homelessness to not be an issue in the UK. So it is ambitious, and Kinsey, as you say, very much an extension of his late mother's work, of what she set out and wanted to do. So it's his way of continuing Diana's legacy. I mean, people watching the show, I'm sure, will be familiar with the fact that when William and Harry were little boys, you know, Diana was determined to show them not just that there was a life outside of palace walls, but there was a difficult life outside palace walls. You know, that there was homelessness. She took them down to Vauxhall Bridge, showed them the work of the charity The Passage, which is another charity that William works with. And, you know, it wasn't so long ago that he was actually out sleeping rough, you know, on the streets, on cardboard boxes, to understand what so many people, too many people in this country faced with. So it's something he cares about, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this documentary. I think it'll be powerful and moving, and I think we'll get to see a very real, human and campaigning side to Prince William.
That's interesting. And it sounds like they're legitimately creating a template that somebody else might watch and be inspired by, which is, you know, that's amazing. I think that's very impactful for future generations. You've been at Wimbledon. Tell me about that. You looked fantastic. Are you expecting, you know, and this is clearly just a guess, are you expecting that we could potentially see the Princess of Wales pop up? You know as well as I do that she absolutely loves this event.
Oh, she does love it. I had great centre court tickets. I was there as a guest of Lavazza, and had a wonderful day there, and had some great seats on centre court watching Djokovic, who played a splendid game. I know Kate always loves to watch the match. I was obviously eyes not just on the court but also on the royal box for a sort of brief moment, wondering if we might see her. We of course haven't had any guidance from the palace as to whether she is going to turn up at Wimbledon. I think it would make it a very special Wimbledon if she does at some point during the tournament. I mean, we've had the most rotten weather over here. The tennis has been halted a lot because of the rain. She would definitely bring a sprinkle of stardust to the whole event, and a ray of sunshine that sort of feels missing, I have to say, with her not being here this year. I hope that she is well enough to come at some point. I mean, it would be wonderful if she was there to perhaps present a trophy. She is, of course, president of the Lawn Tennis Association. As you say, Kinsey, it's a sport that she absolutely loves. She's a massive fan. You know, we were talking about William being so animated at the football. One of the times you get to see Catherine so animated is when she's sitting in the box watching a game, particularly a nail-biting game. She gets so into it. You know, she loves this game. She plays herself. Her and William are known to play. Apparently they are most competitive when they're on the tennis court together. So I know that she would love to be there. I think it's just a case of we'll have to wait and see and find out on the day. It will certainly be a real treat. And as I say, a ray of much needed sunshine if she does pop up on centre court.
Absolutely. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on here, if you don't mind. I think that it's fair to say we can expect a Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sighting later this week. ESPN has revealed their special honorees for the 2024 ESPYs airing live on July 11th on the ABC network. During the ESPYs, this is hosted by Meghan Markle's friend Serena Williams and tennis champ, if we're keeping it in the family. ESPN's going to honor athletes and sports leaders for their courage, perseverance, and service, including Prince Harry for the Pat Tillman Award for service. Now, this is in association with the Pat Tillman Foundation, which, quote, identifies remarkable veterans and military spouses as the next generation of leaders and helps them scale their impact as they enter their next chapter of service beyond self through academic scholarships, lifelong leadership development, and a global community of peers and supporters. Now, the ESPYs are taking place at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles, which is quite a drive for Harry and Meghan. Montecito that's probably 4 hours round trip that they're going to spend in a car, and will air on a major TV network. This is a big deal for Prince Harry. We expect to see Meghan Markle there. And after some pushback from Pat Tillman's mother, I am curious to know what his speech will sound like. I'm hoping he takes little to no credit and uses the opportunity to really highlight the Invictus Games. Now, after the Pat Tillman pushback, after his mother, who's actually not involved with the foundation, that's run by his Pat Tillman's former wife, ESPN came out and said, look, we get that some people aren't going to agree with this decision, but we're here to support the Invictus Games. This is really about the Invictus Games. And there are reports now that Prince Harry is stunned by some of the negative feedback. Do you think that he's going to take the stage and really make it all about the veterans and the Invictus Games to try to redirect the negative attention?
To be honest, Kinsey, I think that's probably what he was always going to do. I think the idea that he was going to go up and accept this award and make it all about him it's not Prince Harry. I just don't think that's what he would do. We talk about the royals using their sort of spotlight to spread an important message, and Harry's no exception to that rule. So I'm sure he probably has been a bit offended by some of the backlash. It feels quite personal, I think. And I'm sure when he gets up there, he will make it absolutely about the veterans and the Invictus Games, as he always does, and putting that spotlight on the community, which he's so close to, which he does so much work for, and makes it all about him. I don't think he's going to turn it into the Harry and Meghan show, because I think that would backfire terribly. But just to give him a bit of credit, I don't think that would have been on the agenda.
That's good to hear. All right. So additionally, last week, the Daily Beast broke that Meghan Markle had reportedly finished filming a new cooking series for Netflix. I can't remember if Harry and Meghan officially announced that they were doing a cooking and polo show, but that's something. For years, we've heard Meghan Markle wanted to create a polo or a cooking show. She allegedly had meetings with agents in London prior to meeting Prince Harry to talk about hosting a cooking show or developing something around her involving food. We know she loved food through the TIG, where she shared recipes and how to entertain. And according to the Daily Beast, this new show will celebrate the joys of cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship. And the reports here in the States are there's a lot riding on the success of this show. I don't know how many people are going to actually be interested in the polo series, except for we're going to see Prince Harry's personality. We're going to see how passionate he is about this game. But do you think that the Netflix contract, this $100 million Netflix contract, could be in jeopardy if these next two projects don't succeed? I feel like Meet Me at the Lake is kind of a no-brainer. It was a best-selling book. It's scripted. They're apparently putting together the elite to produce and star in that. But is their contract really driven by their personalities? And if this cooking show doesn't take off, might Netflix say, we're not really interested in renewing?
Well, I think it comes down to how well these documentaries do. The Harry and Meghan documentary was obviously hugely successful. But that's been a one-off, hasn't it? It's been a bit of an anomaly. And Meghan's latest series, Pearl, which she had big ideas for, was meant to be the next big thing, that got canned. I don't think Harry's series on the Invictus Games was a huge success. you know, is anyone going to be interested enough in polo to watch a Netflix series about that? I mean, I don't know if there are enough gorgeous guys on polo horses. Possibly it might be attracting bums on seats. I don't know, but I think it's at a push. I actually have to say, I think a cooking show with Meghan, you know, billed as sort of celebrating the joys of cooking and gardening, you know, she'll bring all aspects into it. You know, I wonder if that could actually do quite well. Her cookbook did very well. As you say, she's a great cook. So I think that probably has got potential, certainly more so over polo. But I do think if these projects don't do well, content is everything. Netflix have put all this money on the table. They want the ratings, they want the box office hit that they expect with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. If it doesn't happen, I don't think it matters who they are. I think everything can be up for review.
Yeah, and I just, you know, to your point, there were so many headlines and awards that Meghan Markle was given after Archetypes. But I think it really came down to, with Spotify, was there a return on investment? And ultimately, I think Spotify felt like they, you know, didn't receive that return on investment. Yeah, there were a lot of eyeballs, but they were using a lot of resources as well. At one point, she had like 17 different producers on the podcast. You know, a lot of it was, I just can't imagine what the outline was like or what the breakdown was like to film it, because certain producers have said that they actually stepped in and did the interview, and then somebody swooped in and actually dropped Meghan's vocals over not the celebrity interviews, but some of the expert interviews. That's just a lot of resources being utilized. And so I think inevitably Harry and Meghan are going to be in a position to be able to produce their own content and push it out themselves. And maybe that's the ultimate goal, but certainly after leaving the British royal family, looking at all the expenses that they were going to have as a family, all of the security expenses, they were probably very grateful to people like Spotify and Netflix for giving them these opportunities so quickly out the door that really probably saved them.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, just to sort of finish on a note of cookery related jargon, the proof is in the pudding, right? You've got to produce the ratings. You've got to make them the money back. Otherwise, as I say, it doesn't matter if you're the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. You know, money is money. And in the end, Spotify ended up parting ways. You know, let's hope for them that that's not the case with Netflix and these projects do well for them, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Katie, it's been such a joy to catch up with you. I know I've been watching you at Killers concerts. You're all over social media, living your best life. So I'm so glad I got a moment with you. It's been fun to live vicariously through you over the last few days. And I hope to see you again next week. Everybody leave us a comment below. Let us know if you agree, disagree with us. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and share with a friend.